All right, today we're jumping right into something that's, well, it's pretty complicated, but also incredibly important. The relationship between artificial intelligence and the world of stock trading.
So let me just ask you a question. Could your next big stock tip come from an AI? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a movie, but what if your financial advisor wasn't a person at all, but just a piece of code? For a lot of people, that future is already here.
And yeah, the answer might actually surprise you. According to recent surveys, about 13% of regular, everyday investors, people just like us, are already turning to AI models like ChatGPT to get insights and trading strategies. This isn't some hypothetical idea anymore. It's a trend that's growing, and it's growing fast.
Okay, so let's dig into that. We're going to call this first section your new AI stock advisor. Because really, before we can even talk about ChatGPT's role, you have to understand the world it's stepping into. And let me tell you, it's a world already run by algorithms on a massive scale. I mean, just look at these numbers. The scale here it's kind of mind-boggling. The global market was already over $15 billion back in 2021, and it's just projected to keep on climbing. But forget the billions for a second. The number that really matters here is that last one. Around 70% of all stock trading volume in the US is already driven by algorithms. This isn't some niche thing, it's the main engine of the market.
So that leads to the obvious question, right? If algorithms are already running the show, why? What is this algorithmic advantage that everyone's talking about? Let's break down what makes AI trading so incredibly powerful. Think about it. An AI can do things that, until recently, were only possible for massive hedge funds. We're talking about sifting through mountains of financial reports in the blink of an eye, or figuring out market sentiment just by scanning the news and social media. It can even generate trading strategies for you, or write custom code to help you find specific stocks. It's basically putting these super sophisticated tools into the hands of a regular person.
So let's paint a picture here, a tale of two traders. On one side, you've got the AI. It's making decisions in milliseconds, it's purely logical, and has zero emotion. No fear, no greed, nothing. Then you've got the traditional human trader. They're slower, they rely on intuition, and this is the big one, they are always vulnerable to those human emotions that can make us do some pretty irrational things with our money.
But of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. All this power, it comes with a pretty significant dark side. And that brings us to the risks and biases. The real hidden dangers that are baked right into the code.
You see, the very same speed that makes AI so great can also cause massive market swings, just incredible volatility. And what happens when everyone's AI starts thinking the same way? You get this dangerous herding behavior, where they all pile into or out of the same stock at once. Not to mention the really murky stuff, like hidden strategies and a total lack of transparency. You often have no idea why the AI is doing what it's doing.
And look, this isn't some far-off theoretical problem. People are genuinely worried about this. A recent survey found that nearly 3/4 of investors believe AI actually increases the risk of being exploited financially. That's a huge problem for trust.
So, what do? We've got this incredible power on one side, but these really serious risks on the other. How do we find a way forward? Well, it seems like the answer is all about finding the right balance, that sweet spot where man meets machine. And this whole shift isn't just about numbers and markets, it's affecting people on a personal level. There's this widespread AI anxiety. Data shows that almost 40% of workers are genuinely afraid that AI could make their jobs obsolete. That's a real stressor.
And here's the real kicker, the paradox in all of this. Even if you have the most perfect logical AI in the world, the human is still the wild card. A trader can get swept up in fear during a downturn, or get greedy when things are going well, and just completely ignore what the data-driven AI is telling them to do. They can override the whole system in an instant.
So, this is where a model that a lot of experts are excited about comes in. It's called the human-in-the-loop model. And it's pretty simple, really. First, the AI does all the heavy lifting, crunching the data, spotting the patterns. Then, the human expert comes in. They add context, intuition, things the AI just can't see. And finally, they make a decision together. It's about blending AI's raw power with human oversight.
But even that perfect partnership between a person and an AI, well, it's kind of operating in the Wild West right now. And that brings us to our final and maybe the most crucial point, the unwritten rules. We're talking about a massive ethical and regulatory vacuum.
One of the biggest worries here is something called algorithmic bias. So what is that? Well, imagine an AI is trained on historical market data. If that data has existing biases in it, and it almost certainly does, the AI can learn those biases and then just repeat them or even make them worse. In finance, that can mean creating outcomes that hurt specific groups and just deepen existing inequalities.
So, what's the fix? Well, the path to accountability seems to involve a few key things. First, we need more transparency. We have to be able to see inside these black boxes and understand how they're making decisions. We need regular audits to check for fairness. And, maybe most importantly, we need clear rules from regulators that put the health of the whole market ahead of just pure profit.
And all of this, it boils down to one final huge question. In a market that's increasingly run by code, who's on the hook when the code gets it wrong? When it causes a crash or makes a biased call, who is accountable? Is it the programmer, the company, the person who clicked buy? As AI gets woven deeper and deeper into our financial world, that's the question we're all going to have to answer.